Hi, this is Chris Willis from GTM Wranglers, and the focus of this video is really a basic overview of the Marketo Engage navigation and what you can expect as a new user of Marketo Engage. So when you first get logged in, most likely you will initially land in this screen called My Marketo. My Marketo is essentially considered your home screen, and it includes a history, which includes like the last 20 items that you had engaged with. And again, if this is your first time, you won't see anything in here, but you will start to see stuff as you start engaging with the application. And then over here in the canvas area are tiles that represent the different applications that you have access to. So the focus of this video is really going to be on the core applications, which are marketing activities, design studio, database, and analytics. A couple others that I will note. So one is dynamic chat, which is an application that allows you to build very robust chat experiences. And included with that is kind of AI chat, pre-prescribed chats, as well as meeting scheduling with your reps. It's very robust. It's well worth looking at. The other is a community tab, which will take you to the Marketing Nation community. I know Adobe's rebranded this, but essentially you can go out to the community and get access to blogs, access to a lot of Adobe resources, as well as questions from other users like yourself. So now I'm going to go to marketing activities. Marketing activities is essentially where your workflows and your marketing tactics will live. So the way marketing activities is structured is within a kind of a nested foldering structure. So I'll go to the Champ office hours. I was involved with this folder. So inside of folders, you'll have something that's called a program. A program is essentially, thinking about it as a more advanced folder that is able to do some really cool stuff. And it's essentially an object that behaves a lot like the Salesforce campaign, except there's a lot of activities within it. So it includes members. The members have statuses. And then inside of each program, you have smart campaigns, which can be batch or trigger, smart lists, static lists, and then other, like basically what you would consider your marketing assets, your emails, your landing pages, your forms, even though I would definitely not recommend forms being local. So anything that is underneath a program is considered a local asset or a local workflow, or the official term is smart campaign. And then essentially you can have a nested folder structure where you can govern the assets within there using tokens. So tokens are essentially, think about it as like a mail, think of it like a mail merge, but it has a lot of programmatic abilities. So you can manage not only personalization, but you can also manage workflow through tokens. All right. Next is Design Studio. So Design Studio, think about Design Studio as where your core assets and your asset templates will live. So inside of Design Studio, this is where your email templates will be built. And then if you have global emails, which most of the time you will have most of your emails will be in a local context in marketing activities, but there could be some use cases where you do have emails that are global that live in Design Studio. And you can also use Design Studio as kind of a starter place for your marketing teams if you're not using like a third-party solution like a NAC or a Stencil. Forms, so this is where global forms would live. And as a best practice, I definitely recommend that all of your forms be global, because essentially, um, like what global forms allow you to do is have form reuse, which then attribution that's related to forms is actually tied to the landing page inside of the program rather than a local form. So it allows you to reuse forms um, for specific and general use cases, and then do your campaign attribution inside of marketing activities. Um, Also, you got landing page templates, and you're in global landing pages. Again, recommend that your landing pages live as local assets, that there's some attribution benefits you get from that. Um, but there are some cases where you may want to have global landing pages, such as like your unsubscribe page, for example, that you wouldn't use that for any program attribution. And then last but not least is your images and files, which is where you would store like your um, any PDF documents, any images that you're using for emails, etc. Lastly is snippets. These are just reusable code. I guess to call snippets. I'm trying to find another way of saying it, but essentially you can reuse different blocks that can be used within emails and landing pages inside of snippets. All right. Next is database. Database is where most of your global smart lists. So these are smart lists that are generally used to govern the database. They may be reused for things like your life cycle or your scoring. So inside, you've got a field organizer, your system smart list. So there's a set of system smart lists that are included in every org. So all people is essentially all of the persons. So a core record in Marketo is called a person. Used to be called a lead. You may see lead dot in some of the tokens. That was the old terminology. Now the current terminology is person, and essentially the person is the core object in Marketo. Then you got the block list. So these are people that you've added to a block list. Marketing suspended are temporarily unable to email, and these are people that you designate that you should not email based upon a strategic purpose. They haven't unsubscribed. This is essentially you're removing them temporarily from a list, from marketing lists. Bounce email addresses are your hard and soft bounces. Possible duplicates. This is essentially based on email address. No acquisition program. These are leads where Marketo hasn't identified somebody has been acquired by any of your marketing tactics. So this is a good data quality list to look at, to see who you don't have like first touch attribution data on. And then unsubscribed people. Essentially, these are people who have been marked as unsubscribed. And an unsubscribe is essentially somebody has themselves asked through your unsubscribe link to be removed from your emails. Then group smart lists are your smart lists or your queries that are global, and then group lists are your static lists. So a static list is essentially you create an object that's essentially a list container that you can add and remove people to, either by importing them into the list or using workflow to add and remove them from the list. And then segmentations are basically prioritized groupings of records based upon rule sets. It's really powerful and is the primary way. In fact, it's the only way you do. I'll say it's the primary way you do dynamic content. If you're asked a question on a test, what is required for dynamic content to work? It's obviously going to be a segmentation. But some others will say you can do that through velocity scripting, and they're correct. but the user interface way is through segmentations. Okay, and then last but not least is the analytics tab. So analytics tab is where your global reports will live. So Marketo has a set of standard and very powerful like core reports that are available. So you can have these reports sit in your analytics tab, and these would essentially be your global reports. You can also have local reports that point to specific marketing activities folders um, for a for a more granular reporting mechanism. So a couple of the reports that I will note that you should really pay attention to. One is the email performance report. So this is just your standard email report where you can look at emails sent over a specific time period. You can filter out certain things based upon a smart list. This will give you your open, delivered, click through, etc. Data. People performance reports. Not going to go into a lot of detail, but this essentially gives you detail about the people that are coming into your database, and you can group them based upon things like acquisition program, lead source, the month that they came into the database, their life cycle status, to get a sense of the health of the people coming into your database. And then now, last but not least, the program performance report is a really good report to understand how your programs / your campaigns are performing, based upon like percentage of success, based upon different cost metrics that you add to your programs through period costs, and really just assess what's working, what's not working. So this is a high level overview of the Marketo database. I hope this is helpful. If you find this content helpful, definitely give a nice ring to the bell and subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting content similar to this over over time. So thank you so much.